So today I want to go through some grades for first-year coaching hires, which means I'm actually grading the athletic director and department and not necessarily the coach. Well, it's coming up after the bumper.
Don't be cornering me. Hold up. Time. You gotta help me with that corner shit.
What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always college football related, sports related. We have a good time. Today, we're going to go through some coaching hiring grades in the Power 5. And I got to thinking about this because I always thought this was a fun segment. It's a really, good classic sports talk radio segment. It's the kind of segment that I would do on the RJ Young show when I had the terrestrial radio show in Tulsa, 9 to 11 weekdays, and then whirlwind happened about this time last year. But the other thing here is a little inside baseball. I don't get nervous with these sorts of things, but if you're seeing this and you're seeing things that feel different, sound different, it is because I have migrated from a Mac to a PC. I am just now getting used to Premiere after like 4 years of being a Final Cut kind of dude. So I'm working on it. And we're going to do some color grading a little bit later on and get back to some of the basics that many of you have come to appreciate about this channel. But some of y'all have been around here since I was holding the phone in front of my face. Many of y'all have been through me forgetting to turn a microphone on and really just getting used to my new hardware and my new software setup. So I appreciate you bearing with me with that. And I'm glad you guys give me the opportunity to talk with you about that, because the thing I'm noticing with YouTubers is we spend way too much time not talking about the thing that's in the headline. So now I'm going to stop doing that. All right, so I'm going to start at the bottom of this list and move up, which means I'm starting with Arizona and Jedd Fisch, not Jedd Fischer. And I gave this a B-, mostly because I thought Arizona had an opportunity to go get a guy with some head coaching experience. I understand that Kevin Sumlin is not what you want. Before him, Rich Rod is not what you want. And really what you want right now is somebody that can win the Territorial Cup and, more to the point, not get beat down 70-7 like Herm Edwards and Arizona State did Kevin Sumlin in Arizona last year. Also on Monday, we're going to talk with Herm Edwards about what's going on at Arizona State on the #1 ranked show podcast. Please rate it, review it, give it 5 stars. I do like the addition of Don Brown on defense, though I know he got run out of Michigan on a rail, but there was a time when Don Brown's defense was not to be trifled with, and it started to show signs of getting better, I thought, toward the end of the 2019 year, and then they got beat down in the Citrus Bowl by an Alabama team that hasn't lost a game since basically that time last year, right? So they're rolling. They're going to go through their whole thing. But I think that they're going to have a lot of fun. Like, I thought it was a great marketing ploy and a lot of fun to see Jedd Fisch bring out Rob Gronkowski to catch a football from the highest point anybody's ever caught a football from before in pads. Is great, taking advantage of the alumni, and it reminds you of some of the dudes that have come out of Arizona football. Matter of fact, the man who trained both Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence, Ron Veal, quarterbacks coach for them in high school, private quarterback coach, was a player at Arizona. So that's kind of cool. Next on the list, I got Gus Malzahn at Central Florida. Home run hire for me. This is an A+. Man is 68-35 as a head coach, and he has never, ever had a losing season. And people conveniently forget that he was the offensive coordinator on that 2010 Auburn National Championship team, where we saw so many great things. One of them, which is, Cam Newton became what I thought was the best player of all time when you account for he's at Auburn, right? Like, people give me Tim Tebow, but I say you look at those teams that Tim Tebow was on, you can't tell me he's the best player on it. And then you look at all the players that were around it, the way Urban had that thing rolling along. Cam Newton did this for 1 year at Auburn, beating South Carolina twice in the same year, in Arkansas that was a world beater, a top 10 LSU, Alabama when Nick Saban had him going, and on it goes, right? But that's another thing altogether. For Central Florida to get this hire, you see some of the kids that are buying into it. Big Cat Bryant transfers from Auburn to Central Florida. They just got Jordan Johnson at Notre Dame, out of Notre Dame, at Central Florida. They bring back Dylan Gabriel. I think Central Florida is going to make a run at Cincinnati and then some. Perhaps treat it like it's 2017 and chase another national championship. Yes, you heard me say it. They won a national championship in 2017. Raise the banner. Brian Hartson at Auburn is next. I gave this a C because of the way that Malzahn was ousted, and then who were you going to get that was better than him? Because that's what that would lead me to believe, is that you were going to get a head coach who was better for your program than Gus Malzahn, and I don't think they did that with Brian Hartson. I think the guy for them to go get is still at Louisiana, and Billy Napier. I'm going to bring his name up again, but there are a number of coaches that I thought perhaps you could have gone to get with proven track records of winning the Power 5 level that could compete in the SEC West, but we'll see. Auburn has an opportunity to make a liar out of me, or not a liar, make me wrong, right? I like to be wrong on these sorts of things. I invite it. I like Demetrius Davis. I hope he gets a shot. We know that Tank Bigsby is one of the best tailbacks in all of college football. They ought to be fun. Then there's Lance Lypold at Kansas. That's an A+ hire for me. That man won championships at D3 level and flipped Buffalo into a bowl team in just a short amount of time. Had one of the best tailbacks nobody talked about in Jarrett Patterson last year. Man rushed for 1,000 yards in 6 games or something. Is stupid. But Lance Leipold has a tremendous coaching pedigree, and you probably aren't going to find a better fit head coach than Kansas and what they have to do right now, which is just be competent, right? Not be good, just be competent. And I think this hire makes them look and will get them closer to competent on a football field. Next, I got Josh Hypel at Tennessee. I gave this an A-. I appreciate that Danny went back to the well and he took his guy from Central Florida as soon as he got the job as athletic director at Tennessee. There's optimism in Tennessee for the first time, even as they lost 22 dudes to transfers, and that's not including the guys in the portal. Many of those guys are outstanding players. Eric Gray, Key Lawrence, and Wanye Morris all chose to go to Oklahoma. Ty Chandler went to North Carolina. Henry To'oto is at Alabama. List goes on here, right? But I think Josh Heupel's going to run a fun offense. They're going to go fast. They're going to try to put up some points, and they're going to try to turn these games into ones where they can outscore. And when you look at what Ole Miss did to Alabama, you can see how Tennessee might feel a little bit better about their chances of beating Alabama for the first time since the iPhone was invented. That's a real fact. Next on the list, I got Vanderbilt, Clark Lee. B+ hire. Defensive coordinator going to Vanderbilt. We've seen it. It can work, but James Franklin's the only guy in the last 40 years that's been able to put together a really good career at Vanderbilt, and he took the job at Penn State just as soon as he could. Clark Lee's also bringing in our guy Barton Simmons, who I really enjoy, and they're going to redo the way that they do recruiting and perhaps turn Vanderbilt into something other than a cellar dweller. Shane Beamer at South Carolina. I gave this a B+, honestly. I thought hiring Beamer, somebody was going to do it. I just didn't know that he was going to be at South Carolina. When you look at his coaching background and his pedigree, the guys he's worked under, you want to buy all your stock in him, but it hasn't gone well so far, especially in recruiting. But he has an opportunity to turn that around because outside of Georgia, they have a chance to compete in the SEC East. If they can keep up with Kentucky in this first year, if they can give Florida a run for their money, I think they're going to have a shot. Same thing with Missouri on that front. Brett Bielema at Illinois, I gave a B. He's a man whose last job in college football he got fired from because ousted from Arkansas. But when he was last in the Big Ten, Wisconsin, he had them running right along. Brett Bielema is also defensive coordinator in that Kansas State team that beat Oklahoma in 2003, perhaps the best Oklahoma team that did not win a national championship. So knowing what he has, also being able to get guys like Ryan Walters, who was defensive coordinator at Missouri, to come to him at Illinois, and then they got 18 super seniors on this team. They have a chance to be bowl eligible, which I think would be a win for Illinois. And then top of the list, Steve Sarkeesian at Texas. I gave this an A. I gave it an A because you got somebody that, at least today, was better than Tom Herman. But when you look at the resume, it's kind of similar. The difference being that Sark has had 2 head coaching jobs before taking the job at Texas, rehabilitated himself at Alabama, did a stint with the Atlanta Falcons. I mean, tremendous pedigree, and he's coming off a national championship win, and he's putting together a pretty damn good recruiting class already. If he can turn Casey Thompson into, let's call it an all Big 12 quarterback, but even a second team, third team All-American, this is going to look so good. So I think Texas ought to be happy about its hire, but, we'll see how happy they are come the Red River rivalry. So A's to Gus Malzahn, Central Florida, Kansas and Lypold at at Kansas, Lypold at Kansas. Josh Hypel, Tennessee. Yes, that's an A also, even if it's an A-. And, of course, Sarkeesian getting the A. So we'll see how this goes. All right. That's it for me. Deuces.